One of the bros quit. That's it. I just quit my job. He got 500,000 views practically. Why?
So I just quit my corporate job. I've been there for 3 years.
And
I
this
have
is beautiful. So this is on the back of the blue collar, bro. This is a corporate white collar.
All right, guys. So I just quit my corporate job. I've been there for 3 years and I have zero backup plan. So I, for some background, worked for a tech company in New York City, and I honestly never liked what I did. Basically staring at data and optimizing it, all day, right? So staring at a spreadsheet until it was literally burned into my retinas at night. And yesterday I left the office to never come back. So you might be asking, why would you quit your job, especially with no backup plan, right? Because everyone always says, don't quit your job if you don't have another one lined up. And I know the economy, the job market right now is definitely not great, but let's talk about it. So long story short, a couple months ago, a big mistake was made on one of my accounts.
They got bodied.
And they tried to pin it on me. I'm a lower on the totem pole. They tried to put the whole thing on me. And that didn't sit right with me because I had nothing to do with the mistake. It wasn't my mistake. So I stood up for myself. I decided I wasn't going to let these fake corporate people step on me for their mistake. So I defended myself, fired shots back, basically said, it's your fault, not mine, right? And then after nearly 3 years of nothing but positive feedback, my new manager, who's the one that pinned this entire thing on me, all of a sudden had tons of negative feedback for me in the 2-week period following this mistake that she made, right? And she said I needed to turn things around. I'm not fulfilling the requirements of my role. And if I didn't, they would put me on a PIP, which is Performance Improvement Plan. It's basically corporate nonsense that is saying you're going to get fired, but we're going to do this before we fire you so we can protect ourselves. So one thing about me is, I'm by no means the smartest, but I am a hard worker, and I always have been. And here I'm being told I'm not working hard enough. So, for the last month or so at my job, I reached new levels of try hard, right? I'm working 12-hour days every single day, just being
all for nothing, dotting your fucking I's, crossing your T's. Everything is absolutely immaculate. Everything you turn in is perfect for nothing. They still fire. It's still, like you said, it's all an excuse. It's bullshit. They wanted to get rid of him. Here's the patsy, the fall guy. You owe no fucking loyalty to any of these corporations. Anybody, your employer is somebody you're there temporarily for as long as they're paying you, always looking for an exit somehow. If you don't even, like we already know, you need to move from job to job every 2 years to get any meaningful raise throughout your entire career. You have to hop from company to company. That's fucking crazy. If you were to stay at one company, the raises they give you are such dog shit, you lose purchasing power over the decades. People make like 1.5 times more simply by jumping, job hopping. Yeah, job loyalty is fucking worth less.
Super extra with everything that I do. Like going the extra mile, really just basically making it so she can't say I'm not doing my job. So then, a couple weeks ago, I got a call from my manager and she puts me on the performance improvement plan anyway, despite the hard work, despite everything, right? So this is typical corporate nonsense. And what I learned about this corporate world, at my time in it so far, is it doesn't actually matter how hard you work in the corporate hellscape, right?
Yeah.
Your input is genuinely irrelevant at most of these tech jobs, especially. Like there's people that work their ass off and they'll put everything into their work and they'll end up getting the same treatment as the people that are literally doing nothing, just coasting, maybe doing the bare minimum. And, if your manager doesn't like you at these jobs, you're really cooked, by the way. I've had managers who love me and it makes such a difference. Like there's times where I was like, wow, this job's so.
That's why when you have a manager that gets fired because they bring in, quote, new management, you're usually cooked. You're done. All the good favor you've ever earned with them, like how tight and close you got, or they had your back, really loved working, with you in their team under their supervision, that all goes away. You could spend years building that relationship. When they're gone, bro, you're left naked in the company.
So easy, and I'm still getting great feedback, and then you get a new manager. And boom, you're cooked. So,
see? Yeah.
And before anyone asks, a lot of people are like, why didn't you go to HR? Like, this sounds like an HR situation, sounds not fair. Here's another thing that I learned, right? HR is a total joke. They're solely there to protect the company. They have zero interest in protecting you. So, I went to them. They did not help at all. The HR lady was, a remote worker who,
Of course.
I'm not going to say anything, but she had cats running all over in the background. And that should kind of tell you the vibes.
DEI. Yeah.
I have nothing against cats, but you know what I mean, right? And, she's just telling me how they want me to succeed and, they wouldn't have fired me if they didn't want, or they would have fired me if they wanted me fired. They want to see me succeed, which is total, bullshit. So, I have my PIP meeting, my PIP meeting, and I'm just hearing all this legit nonsense. And all these things that I need to do to keep my job and how much they care about me and it might not feel like it, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the meeting, I was just like, yeah, I quit. Like, this is ridiculous. All I can do is, show up and work hard. That's all I've been doing my whole time at this company. So I quit. I wasn't going to let them juice every last ounce of work out of me before firing me anyway. I ended it on my own terms. And every boomer that I know, including my own parents, mind you, told me that this was the wrong decision, right? Quitting with no backup plan is irresponsible. Sometimes
mic pop.
You got to just, stick through it. But I feel like if there's anything I've learned, it's you got to do what feels right sometimes. Sometimes you feel it in your gut and you got to follow your gut, right? So yeah, I just quit, guys. I'm going to, go travel for a little bit. Going to Italy, Europe, things like that.
Hey.
I figured I'm only getting older, right? So luckily I've been able to save a ton of money up. I've been, I took the sacrifice of living at home for a couple of years. So it's not like I had bills to pay. Was saving a lot of money this entire time that I've been working here. And, also not going to lie, a big part of this was like crypto, right? And I can make a separate video, but I basically made my salary in crypto in the past couple months alone. So, I'm sitting here getting shit on by these people that think that, because they have a little bit of power, they can just treat me like shit. And I'm like refreshing my crypto wallet, seeing like this crazy number. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm not going to do this. I don't care if it might be irresponsible. Like for now, I'm out of here and I'll figure it out. I know I will. But this is not for me, clearly. Right. So I feel like with my channel, I don't want to make it seem like I have it all figured out because I don't, right? I'm still relatively young. I've definitely learned a ton of shit, but if this is any indicator, I'm still learning.
So you see, it's both blue collar and white collar. You're getting screwed. Is it any surprise that people hang on to like it's fucking Jesus? Bitcoin, crypto, meme coins, meme stocks, Wall Street bets, right? Going hard on options, 100x leverage. Dudes are practically just gambling on cum rocket. Why? Because anything to escape this. Shit, dude, you put a couple thousand in on like 10 different meme coins, not financial advice, and then one of them blows up, you're fucking made, bro. You're made. People feel like they missed out on the boat, right, for Bitcoin. And they're like, bro, I'm not, we need a goon coin. I'm not fucking putting money in when Bitcoin's at like 120,000. I should have bought that shit when it was 50 cents. I fucked up. And then the same shit with Ethereum in like 2017. Like, bro, that shit was like $20. It's now like $3,000. And, so people are looking for like, what coin is going to fucking 10,000x from here? And shit like that. Why? Because your jobs don't even provide you with meaningful work and salary anymore. Should we make a goon coin and just pump the shit out of it? Oh my God. License plate, goon coin. Yeah, coin goon. God.
Every single day, right? So I definitely don't want to come off as someone speaking from a higher ground, right? I'm right here in the trenches right now, but I'm enjoying every moment of it.
Goon
right?
to the moon.
And before you make a decision, like...
That's so good. Goon to the moon. We're going straight up, boys. Hard as a rocket.
This, if you're miserable at your job, I would say like you don't want to completely burn any bridges. Like I really wanted to just say, fuck you guys and just, move on. But, I went to people that I had positive experience with. I got reference letters and things like that. So, hopefully that will carry on if I need in the future. But the moral of the story here
Yeah, we need to launch a Goon Coin. Everybody needs to get into the community. We're going to secretly launch Goon Coin. We're going to be all the early ICO investors. We get like 80% of the supply and just start dumping on normies. Okay, we need to come up with a good Goon Queen in the front of our coin. And it's a wrap, bro. What a joke the world is. And so many coin scammers. People that said they would never coin scam have done that shit. Got all the money in the world, bro. I would never get in a crypto scam. Crypto scams their people. Unbelievable.
Is there's no loyalty in corporate America, right? There's no human emotion. It's
Rug
all
pull.
fake. And to be honest, with AI, I'm not sure half of these jobs will be around much longer. Like, so many of these people are genuinely getting paid for nothing. Like, they're doing nothing all day and pretending to work. Like, that's a huge chunk of corporate America, right? And I could have stayed, collected a few more paychecks while they shit on me some more. But I stood up for myself. I quit. I ended it on my own terms. And when I did it, I wasn't sure it was the right move. It was just what my gut told me. But now, this huge weight is off my shoulder, right? I'm still young. I have money saved up, and I hated what I was doing, right? We spend so much time at work that if you really dread your job, you're going to end up dreading your life, right? So I just said, enough is enough. And I quit. So yeah.
Damn. Love how young people are rejecting this BS system. I love this YouTube genre where some guy talks about his life with old COD game footage in the background. I feel like I'm going back in time. Things I learned about jobs from 18 to 24. Coworkers aren't your friends. Managers don't care about you, even when they act like it. Corporate and DMs are technically or typically assholes. Nepotism is real. Hard work gets rewarded with more hard work, and high school never ends. That is so true. My mother always said nobody quits a good job. They quit a bad boss. Supervisor here, your analysis is spot on. The PIP is just a fancy way of saying a write-up. And the fact that your response was to step it up and go all in just shows the kind of character that you have. HR is a joke. 9 out of 10 will have the managers back unless you have documentation that forces their hand. You're too good for them. And sounds like you're the exact type of employee that any company wants. They just don't know it yet. Yeah, best of luck. Don't settle. And the clicks, the circle jerk, it never ends. High school still persists as a mindset. Yeah, it does. People get paid to do nothing all day and pretending to work. Nothing could be more true. It is. Like I said, in a company, probably only 20% of guys are actually putting in the work, the vast lion's share of the work.